good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unknown Emote episode 6. We here at the Unknown Emote are here to talk about everything that is MMO related, usually bashing MMOs, but on occasion actually liking a game. I am here with my co-host, Lawrence.
What up, everybody? How we doing this week?
Hey, you didn't say something retarded
normal
this week.
It's amazing.
What just happened?
I know.
I'm so confused.
It's okay.
I
We're going to
couldn't
get those
think of anything
shitty fucking
this
faces at the beginning of our show again this week, so he'll make up for it once he edits the video.
Those were badass. I don't know what you're saying.
Probably.
You know you like to have that muscly body.
Oh, well, I mean, that is an accurate representation of my body, so I can't complain too much, but...
Okay, sure. We'll just go with that then.
Hello. I'm not going to say anything dumb, like usual, until later in the show, in which case I'll say all sorts of dumb things.
Yeah,
It is bound to happen.
It just hasn't happened yet. We're only like, what, a minute in, and
A minute and a half.
to say anything dumb just yet. But once we let you take your control for a few seconds, people are guaranteed to get something dumb out of
Exactly.
you. I'm positive. So this week, we are going to talk about Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. Yeah, this one's going to be fun, I think. A lot of fun. How about you introduce the game to the folks, Lawrence?
All right, so Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn is basically it's a reboot of the original Final Fantasy XIV game that came out back in 2010. The developer is Square Enix. They're responsible for one of the most popular RPG series of all time in Final Fantasy, and also they released Final Fantasy XI, which was their first attempt at an MMO, which came out roughly right around the same time that World of Warcraft came out. Again, this game did come out in North America right around November, and then basically they actually kept the game live until November 2011. And they also announced in 2011 basically they were going to do an overhaul of the game because the game release sucked so hard they had to pull it back. And then they announced their re-release in 2013. Yeah, and then they re-released this August. They're a little bit different in that they have two different submodels going on right now, even though they haven't brought a lot of clarity to that. That you can do $13 a month for one character or $15 a month for 8 characters. So why don't we jump into our initial thoughts, and how don't you start us off, Doug?
Yeah, initial thoughts. So, breaking that down, what did you initially think when you installed the game? And what I initially thought when I installed the game is, oh, this looks pretty. Oh, look, their character creation is pretty unique. Oh, look, I really made a character I liked. Oh, look, I can't get onto a fucking server. And I can't even create my character on a server because it's so fucking stupid. And then I get onto talking to everyone and they're like, oh, go play on a Japanese server, because that's the solution for this game, is to go play on a realm in a completely different country in a completely different server. So that's my initial reaction of it. Immediately, right off the bat, it looks pretty, it has the potential, and then you can't get into the game. And I'm sure you're going to hear that a lot from Amir, because I know he had all sorts of problems getting into the game, but that was my initial thing. Once I was able to actually get into the game, that's where I found more things that I didn't really like about it. Again, it was a very beautiful game. The combat and mechanic system actually worked pretty smoothly, but I, for one, cannot get over the fact that there is zero voice acting, or minimal voice acting, in this game. When I have to go scroll through 17 different boxes of text across the bottom of my screen while the guy in the middle of my screen is yapping his little mouth off, and nothing, not even like hunts and whatever else from Zelda that you heard, that's not coming out of his mouth. All I hear is background music, and there's no like yeah or hey listen or any of the other fucking annoying things that Navi used to say. At least there was that in Zelda. In this Final Fantasy game, none of it exists. And I guess maybe that's part of the whole Final Fantasy thing. Maybe that's because I have, as Larry likes to call it, Final Fantasy culture shock. But I personally flat out freaking hated it. So that's my initial reactions. What were yours, Amir?
Very similar, actually. Probably a lot more frustration in there. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I bought the game from Square Enix. They have the most convoluted sign-up system for...
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
God, yes. Such an archaic system.
It's really bad. I had originally bought this game when it originally came out. I don't remember any of that account info I had from then. I could not find my account. I didn't stress it. It was $30, whatever. I'll buy a new game because trying to do account recovery was confusing as fuck. Fuck it, whatever. I'll buy $30. So I'm like, all right, sweet. Get the game installed. They'll give me an early access code. I'll get that, be able to play the game. Get my early access code. All of my friends are playing on Cactar server. I'm like, I'm going to go play on Cactar. No, you're not, because this server is full. Well, what about this other server my friends are playing on? I play that tomorrow when I get home from work, whatever. I don't have to play the first day, yada, yada, yada. I get home from work. Every single server, American and EU, is full. You cannot create characters. One would think, with a game, that they had to re-release. Yeah, re-release. That's the best way I can say it, because they actually had released the game. They're going to call it the alpha now, but these fuck faces had released a game that was not complete, and it was really, really bad. So bad that they really, pretty much, this game is like entirely scrapped the old system from the other game and did it all over again. It doesn't even feel similar to the other game, because actually it's somewhat enjoyable when you can actually get into the game. But sweet Jesus, getting into the game was the worst thing. When Doug told you about going to the Japanese servers, it was literally because there was no other way to play. I was like, I just spent this money on this game that I cannot play. I pre-ordered it so I can have early access. Too bad you're not actually going to be able to play the game. Sucks to suck. Right? That was extremely frustrating. I got in one day, and it was like at the ass crack of dawn, literally like 7 a.m. on the server I wanted to play on. I played for a little while, and I was not able to play again after that one time. And Lawrence here has like been referencing that I had like 16 hours in the game. And the truth of the matter is, according to Raptor, I do have 16 hours in the game, but the game doesn't log you out. So this is part of the reason why we had all these server issues. There's no timeout. You can literally stay logged into the game as long as your computer stays on or they don't take the servers down. All kinds of issues with that. As far as my game impressions, I didn't have a lot of chance to create any. It was just getting into the game in itself was a huge, huge pain. I don't know. There's some things that I like, some things that I didn't, but for the most part, this launch has been up there with like some of the worst debacles. Like, this is worse than the Diablo 3 launch. This is worse than the Sim City launch. Like, this is really bad. And a lot of people who are playing the game is giving it a pass because it's an MMO. They have problems. They didn't know the release is going to be that big. Blah, blah, blah. Bunch of bullshit, if you ask me.
I agree. 100% bullshit on that.
This is a game like that they've had years. Literally, they spent fixing it. Wouldn't you think create enough server space for people to play it?
Especially since that was one of the main issues you had the first time.
Exactly. And they were handling all these digital downloads. They had to see, hey, 17 million people bought this game. Obviously, that's an inflated number. But wouldn't you think that if you didn't have the server space to handle that, why would you keep taking pre-orders? Like, they disabled pre-orders for digital downloads way, way too late. Yeah, I'll go on and rant later. Yeah, go ahead, Lawrence. You take it from here.
So my view on the game is a little bit different. I actually wasn't going to pick up this game until I heard that Amir was going to pick it up, so I went through and did the digital download. I definitely agree. The way that it's set up and Square Enix has it set up for you to get the digital download is almost like they don't want you to buy the game, because you do jump through about 10 or 15 different hoops to get there, and I literally almost came down to one point in the game where I was like, fuck this, I don't want to do it. This is a pain in the ass. And I actually kind of bared through it and did it anyway. But once I did download it, and then I texted Amir, I was like, hey man, what server you on? He's like, oh, I'm on this Cactus server, whatever the fuck it's called. And I'm like, okay. So I log on, boot it up, and I'm like, I can't select this. And they're like, oh yeah, there's this little refresh button that you go through to refresh the server list every 3 minutes. I was like, okay, I'll refresh it and see what goes on. So I refreshed it and refreshed it and refreshed it and refreshed it, and it didn't actually show that I could get onto the Cactus server. So I just picked this random other server to play on. I actually had somebody that texted me and said, hey, this server's open, why don't you play on this one? So then I booted it up and got into it. But it almost to me feels like Square Enix is legitimately trying to get people not to play this game, just because of how terrible the launch is. The gameplay, once I actually got into the game and started to actually play the game, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty solid. But the headache to try to get into the servers and not get booted, and the fact that they don't kick anybody off out of the game. I know somebody that's been logged in since release day and their character has not been booted. I'm like, so you mean to tell me you've been logged in for a week and a half, your character hasn't been booted off the game? And he was like, yeah, man, I just leave it logged in. I'm like, yeah, I hate you because you're the reason that I can't log on. But that's really my first overall impressions, is it really does feel like that Square Enix is almost kind of acting like they don't know what they're doing, even though they had previously launched an MMO beforehand. And it just is mind-boggling to me that a company as big as Square Enix has such a problem with doing something so simple like launching a game. That's all I got. Let's move on down to what do we like about the game. Why don't you start us off, Amir? What did you like of actual gameplay?
Well, I mean, it's typical MMO fare, button smash here, punch, fetch quest, that kind of thing. So it was something that I could do pretty mindlessly, and the combat and such felt really smooth. The zones felt pretty well laid out. It's a very pretty game, very good looking game, and it ran way smoother than I thought. I'm by no means running like a super high end machine, but I cranked everything up on the game, and I'm pretty much running about 60 frames solid, even with a ton of stuff going on my screen. Some of the random events they have are fate events that they have in the game were pretty fun that I did, which is just basically random events happening in the world. You get extra gil and experience, that kind of thing. So it's not too bad. Those are the things that I really liked about the game. The classes all feel unique of the ones that I played so far. The Marauder, the Archer, and Pugilist. I haven't really put too much behind any characters. Like my max level character right now is like level 10. So not too bad. I enjoyed that, and I look forward to playing more of the classes and get a better feel for the game when I'm actually able to create characters, because I can't on my server right now. That's pretty much what I have right now of the things that I really liked. I'll let you take it next, Lawrence. What did you like about it so far?
After I could get in and actually play the game, I really did think the game was a pretty solid game from a gameplay kind of standpoint. They do a lot of things that I've seen in other games or other games are saying they're going to do, kind of like with WildStar, where they have, when you're hitting mobs, the mobs will do that kind of thing where they show you where the area of attack is, and the questing was pretty solid. There wasn't any point where I felt there was a gap in content. I only played one character. I played a Conjurer, which is basically kind of like a priest slash mage kind of class, and I've got it to about level 16 right now. And I thought it was pretty solid. The fate thing was pretty neat, so it kind of was a good breakup from just mindless questing. And then they have these other kind of quests which are different, which are repeatable, which are pretty neat. And just doing some research back and forth from the original to now, they've kind of canceled out a lot of the stuff that was just absolutely atrocious, where you would cap out in a character and you don't cap out anymore. So if I just wanted to play a Conjurer, I could just play a Conjurer. But once you get to like the main city, you can actually swap professions. So if I wanted to play a melee character class or a different version of a spellcasting class, or maybe of an archer, I could go through and join the guild of that class and play as that class. I would say that's probably my biggest like about it, is that you're not kind of restricted to one character. So you're kind of like, oh, if I get bored playing this, I can level up a completely different character. What about you, Doug?
Mine's going to be pretty short and sweet. There's two things I liked about this game. It was pretty, and its mechanics were smooth. Beyond that, that's pretty much all I can say. I can definitely go on a rant, and will go on a rant when we transition into the dislike section of this game. But liking it, character select was cool. I liked building out a character and customizing it and doing all the fun thing. I actually spent about 45 minutes creating my character, which is why I was really pissed when they told me I couldn't create it, until I found out I could save it and create it a little later. Like I said, the button mashing, it went like it should. There wasn't any lag. It wasn't anything nearly as bad as like Warhammer was. Everything just kind of flowed smooth, and it looked visually appealing. But that's all I got for what I liked about it. Let's go ahead and transition into what we disliked about it. And before I be Debbie Downer and destroy everybody's hopes and dreams of this game, let's let somebody else start off about what they disliked about it. So, the one person who does like a lot of things about it, Larry, what did you dislike about it?
From an actual gameplay kind of standpoint, what I didn't like was that the fact that the servers are just so full, it's really kind of hard to kind of get immersed into a Final Fantasy game when there's 50 to 60 people on the screen at one time. Yeah, that had its pluses, but at the same time, if I'm trying to look at something or trying to delve into the lore of a Final Fantasy game, it's like, oh my gosh, there's just so many people. And also trying to record for the game, for the recording end of things, I try to record and my frame rates would just drop. It was like too many people, frame rate dropped because they did not allow people to log on. My other big pet peeve of the game is I probably bought 4 copies of this game, and none of the people that I bought copies for can play on my server because all the servers are full. That just doesn't make sense to me at all. Hey, I bought this copy for this person, I bought this copy for that person. Hey, let's all play together on the same server. Nope. It ain't happening.
I was really looking forward to playing on the Labia server.
Yes, the Labia server was definitely the best server that's out there, just so you know. And I emailed Square Enix because I was so upset. And I wrote this like kind of nasty gram email, and I got this email back that was completely nothing to do with what I had originally sent the email for. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, I write this, novel of a hate mail as to, hey, what's going on? Are you going to do free server transfers? Are you going to do server condensing? Or what's going on with this? I've got people I've bought this game for that play in a Japanese server. I've got somebody that plays in a European server. What gives? And they're like, if you would like to create a character on this server, do this. I was like, and I about broke my keyboard out of just hate for the developer. The launch is just so bad, and I mean, I've played a lot of other launches, and I tried to rationalize it that MMOs have terrible launches, but this one really is. I wouldn't say it's as bad as Amir saying the SimCity Online game bad, but I would definitely put it up there with Diablo. The fact that it boots you, but at the same time doesn't boot people that are already logged in. There's a lot that I had issues with other than the actual gameplay itself. It was just everything else took place before I could get in the game just pissed me off to no end. What about you, Amir?
Exactly the same. I may tell you about my experience actually getting in this game, because I didn't really go all the way into this. So I got my early access code after I got my beta code to get in the game, because it was open beta for a little bit. So I got into there and I was got my beta code. I'm like, sweet. So let me play for the beta for a while. Then it switched to early access, and my early access code wouldn't work. So I had to send them an email, and they got to me pretty quick about my early access code, which was good. I was all right, cool, whatever. I'll use my early access code to get in the game. Get my early access code, play the game. Early access ends. I don't actually have a game code. So I go through figuring out where the fuck my game code was. I finally figured this out. I punched that into the system, and I can't log into the game. And I'm like, well, what the hell? This is the game code. I punch it into their MOG station thing, and it says I have an active account, but I can't log in, period. So at this point, I'm getting extremely frustrated. And I go, hey, I'm going to go contact their support. Maybe I'll give them a call. Maybe I'll just do the text chat. 5 hours to wait for a call. Another 4 hours to wait for text chat. Yeah, no, I don't have that much time after I get off work to actually even sit down and play video games. I'm not about to sit on the phone for 5 hours waiting to get an answer to why this code that I paid for is not working. So I send them an email. 2 days later, I get a response saying, you need to punch in your code again. So I did. Didn't work. But they actually got me to a person in chat. So I punched in. And it took me 4 or 5 tries and me talking to this guy for my code to finally work. Sweet. Now I actually have a working account code. I don't know what the fuck they did to my registration code. No keys were being punched wrong. No matter how many fucking times he asked me that I punch in all the right letters, dude could have ate a dick. I punched everything in there right. It wasn't working. Finally get logged in. I can't get logged into any servers, period. Literally every single server was full, and the Japanese servers that I was playing on in early access just to be able to play were down, so I couldn't do anything in the game. So I'm extremely frustrated in this game, and I haven't even really played it all, at all. And then I get into the game, and I have to sit through a fucking 15-minute introduction to the game, talk to some old drunk dude.
Oh,
I don't care what the old drunk dude has to say. I can't skip this. What is this? Why is this important? And you have to do this with every single character you create in the game. Same thing. It's not skippable. You just sit there and chat with this asshole.
You don't even chat with him because he doesn't make any fucking noises.
I was just about to say that. And you can't really chat with him because there's no sound. How are we supposed to be going into the next gen of MMO games and there's no voice acting except for the cutscenes? At all. None. Nothing's there. You may get a random, huh? And that's it. That's about the most noise I've heard with any of the chats that you had. And they're so long. This kind of makes me yearn for, going into Rift, and there's a box with text, and that's it. You get past that box of text, it's over. This has like 17 boxes of text that you have to read through or spam through because it's so fucking hard to skip. Can I just have a mindless MMO experience? Because this is pretty much what this game is. It's not like the story. Every Final Fantasy game story is super fucking convoluted. Like since Final Fantasy 6 or 7, you have no real idea what's actually going on in any of their games. So your story, you're not drawing me in with that. I just want to play the game. Can I just play the game? No. They make it really difficult to play the game. They made it difficult to get into the game. When I got into the game, the immersion's all fucked up. I'm at the point of being like, just fuck this game. But I actually enjoy little parts of it. Like, it's pretty, and I really like the combat. So fuck this game. That's all I have to say right now. Fuck this game. Really, that's all I can say. Fuck this game. Yeah, who's left? I don't even know. Like, I don't even know, man. I was about to yell when I saw that thing said 5 hours to make a fucking phone call to them. I was about ready to throw my mouse, but then I'd have to buy a new Naga, and I would have been sad.
Do I get to engage rant mode yet?
Engage.
Yes. Go for it.
So, if you happen to be a friend of mine on Facebook, you notice that as soon as I logged into this game, I made a post that said, how to lose a player in 3 easy steps. Step 1 was allow me to create a character, spending 25, probably more than that, minutes to make it the way I wanted to. Step 2, not allow the character to be created on any realm. Step 3, when I googled solutions for this, they told me delete the characters and recreate it to make your realms show up. And I did this about 3 or 4 times, and not once was I able to create a character. And finally, after ranting and smashing my keyboard and yelling at everybody I possibly could, I was able to actually create a character and log into the game. As the rest of this post goes, I had people, mostly Larry, trying to defend the game and telling me how to get around all these things, the solution to which is playing on a Japanese server. That is not any way whatsoever a solution for a major game manufacturer to put out for a game of any way, shape, or form. It should not be go log into another server where you don't even see the same fucking language, and that's how you're going to be able to play this fucking game. That is not a solution. In any way, shape, or form is that a solution. Anybody who thinks that's a solution is fucking crazy. Next thing was that this is Square Enix. This is Final Fantasy. This is not their first fucking go around the block. They know what they're doing. They know how popular their games are. They know what kind of a following their games get, yet they weren't fucking ready for it. I don't understand how you can't be ready for it. I don't understand what you have to do to be ready for it because I don't
create. The second time releasing the same
Yeah,
game.
it's literally the same fucking game from 2 years
the
ago, and you didn't have your servers and your shit ready. So you're like, hey, let's cut it back. Let's wait 8 years or whatever the fuck it was, and then re-release it, and then you have the same fucking problem. I don't understand how in the world you possibly could do that whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. I played World of Warcraft. I saw all the launches with expansions, everything. I know what patch days and launch days did to that fucking game. I remember when Burning Crusades came out and literally whole 40-man guilds camped the entrance to Burning Crusades and wouldn't fucking let anybody pass through because it was STV, it was an open PvP zone, and they didn't put a neutral box around the area. So you literally could not play the game until those 40 people decided to log off and stop being dicks. I am well aware of what kind of problems can happen with an MMO, and this should be dead bottom of the list. Not even being able to create a character and log onto the fucking game should not be anywhere near the top of the list, and that was number 1 for this issue. It could be the perfect game. It could be a pretty game. It could be so engaging I have a raging hard on the entire time I'm playing it. But if I can't log into the fucking game, none of that matters. So that's my rant. I might have liked this game. I might have. I can't get over the fact that I had 1 hour of running around a fucking city before I actually experienced combat, and I can't get over the fact that there was no voice chat, and like Amir said, I had to scroll through 8 or 9 fucking boxes of text every time I tried to turn in a quest. But those things like that I can overlook if I enjoy the game. But I could not force myself to enjoy the game after what I had to go through to even log on to the fucking game.
I agree. It has made it very difficult for me to want to play this game because of the drama of actually getting into the game.
And I had the same kind of issues like you did with the whole enter your CD key to create your account or whatever. And I typed it in 4 fucking times until I realized maybe this archaic system is so stupid that I actually have to have caps locks on for them to work. And sure enough, that was the solution. As soon as I realized what is the stupidest thing I should have to do to be able to get my CD key to work, and that was it, then I got my CD key to work. So if you haven't played this game yet and you're trying to get on and you can't figure out why you can't get your damn CD key to work,
Caps lock.
push the caps lock button. All your problems will be solved.
Yeah, it's
Ugh.
it's so bad. This is one of the things that I've noticed. One of the biggest complaints right now that this game has is that you can create an account in the game, and then when you go to register your game, you can accidentally be forced to register a new account. So one of the biggest issues they have right now is merging accounts because it's so convoluted signing up for this game that you may create two accounts and register to the wrong one because it's not explained properly. That is the biggest issue they have right now with this game as far as registration.
Oh, tell me about it. I mean, I almost made 3 accounts trying to get into beta for this game.
Exactly.
I was just like,
Signing up
what
for
am I
this game
doing?
was like signing up for Battle.net when Diablo 2 was a thing, and they were just starting up your fucking online experience, and you had to create a Battle.net account to log onto it. That's exactly what it looks and feels like the entire time you're going through this process. And the fact that I can make that comparison is just flat fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
I was going to say, let's go over our overall impressions. So, Doug, why don't you start us off with overall impressions since you were ready to rant?
I think the fact that I had to engage rant mode to begin with is my overall impression of the game. It has bright spots. I have to give it that. Maybe later on down the road, once the sheen is worn off and there's not 100,000 people trying to log onto this game every second and not being able to do it, and the zones are not so filled with people that you're literally trying to just tab and attack one thing while somebody else is killing it so you get credit for the quest. I think this game might have appeal to it. Not anything in my life have I wanted more than to ride a chocobo. Since I have never played Final Fantasy, I've always wanted to ride a chocobo, and the fact that I didn't get to with this game saddens me in my heart. There are redeeming qualities. I think it has merit to it. If you can get past the things that are just like standard gaming and stick your mind back 15 years ago into what games were like then, I think you can enjoy this game if you can get past the whole server issues. What do you think, Amir?
I think it has potential because, I mean, overall, the game versus when it originally released now is a lot different, and I actually kind of want to play it, even if I just know that most of the game I'm going to spend just running around button mashing because I like the classes in the game. Because I really do. That's what I play Final Fantasy games for, because I like the different job systems. So, and I think like what Lawrence hit on is that you can change your character to pretty much whatever job you want to over the course of the game. That's really cool to me. I think that's actually has a lot of potential for fun for this game. I haven't really got a chance to do any of the dungeons. From what I understand, the bosses are actually pretty fun in the game. It's hard for me to even want to play this game right now. Like, I look at it and I get angry. Like, instantly. It's like all the shit that I went through. Like, today. I mean, in case y'all didn't know, today they fixed the servers. They expanded what was available. Changed the queue system because it wasn't actually giving people queues to go on the servers. So I was able to get in today after work, which was the first time that I was able to do that. Like, because I usually get out of work around prime video game playing hours. So today I was actually able to get in and actually dick around in the game, and I was actually kind of enjoying myself. And I was at the same time I was really angry that I had to wait this long to do it. I'll give it a chance. I'm gonna give it these next 30 days. I will be playing. I know that. And then I'll revisit it then. But
if I can get on a server with you two and actually like try to play and enjoy the game now that they've fixed the servers, I'll give it a chance through the next 30 days, but I do not expect to re-up this whatsoever.
yeah, the release has been pretty atrocious, and I think that's going to cause a big problem for them going down the line. Like, they'll have some of the more hardcore people who really enjoy Final Fantasy stick with it, but it's going to be hard to get people that you've burned like this to want to play for more than a month. I don't know. What about you, Lawrence?
My overall impression of the game is that if you're thinking about getting this game or at least considering it, wait. Please, for the love of all that is holy, wait 3 months for everything to kind of either fix itself or for Square Enix to fix itself. I would say the actual gameplay of the game I thoroughly enjoyed. I spent a bit more time than both Doug and Amir in the actual gameplay because I only played one character. I didn't play a bunch of other characters. And I actually kind of did enjoy the actual gameplay itself. I do feel that this game has a lot of potential versus the original release, which people just raged about how the gameplay was terrible. And I don't think the gameplay is actually that bad. It's actually fairly good. It's kind of what I feel like WildStar is going to be, obviously with a different art design and a few other things. If you're thinking about getting this game, please hold off because you will rage and you'll you'll just want to throw your keyboard or punch your fist through your monitor because of the struggles to actually get through it.
What he's saying is you'll end up an angry asshole like me.
Pretty much.
You'll have a jaded view of the game before you even get to see what it is, because as I said, I mean, I've probably got about 12 hours in the game, give or take, and once you get off of the starter area and get to the main city, it does pick up, and it's one of those things that I've looked forward to playing, but at the same time, I've been playing Age of Empires 3 over this game just because I don't want to deal with the server issues, and that game is like 10 years old. So that kind of puts things in perspective there as to just how much I've wanted to but not wanted to even try to boot up this game, because I just don't want to break my expensive keyboard trying to log into the game. That's it.
I don't know. That's the thing, I suppose. Like, I mean, you are kind of, your experience is already started off on a bad foot before you even step foot in the game, which makes it really difficult. Like, the fact that I was able to pick up the game, buy it, and then not be able to play with any of my friends that were playing it was the most frustrating thing about the game to me. Like,
I agree.
Nothing more
I
frustrating
completely agree.
than the fact that I get on the game and I cannot log onto a server that all of my friends are right now playing on. What purpose do I have?
It's not even that you couldn't log into the servers your friends were on. It's you couldn't log into the servers.
Well, it was a couple of times where I made characters on the servers, but I had to make characters on, like, my friends were getting together. We had to jump on a Japanese server to actually be able to play with each other. That is frustrating. I should not have to jump on a server that is thousands of miles away from me to be able to play the game. Like,
oh no, man, I played on Arthas on World of Warcraft, and I would at least been okay with like long ass queues to get into the server. If at least I could have get into the server, but the fact that I could not get into the Cactus server or any of the other 4 other copies of this game that I bought to
or the
play with
Labia
those people,
server.
just yeah, I mean, I could at least get into that one, but the fact that you couldn't get onto it, or I bought the game for my brother, and I bought the game for another friend, and it was just like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I can't log into this. So that, just so much frustration at one time. Like, hey, you're going to take my money from me, and you're going to let me create an account, but at the same time, you're not going to let me actually play the game that I feel like it should be able to play it as. That to me was just super, super frustrating and very, very misleading on their part. I would have been okay if they said, oh, nope, sorry, you can't buy the game, or if there was a disclaimer that said, hey, we've got huge server issues. You can buy the game, but you may or may not be able to play with people that you want to play with. It was like, nope, here, we'll take your money and say, ha ha ha, screw you, we've got your money.
Yeah, you just
peace.
That basically would have felt like, hey, that dick, it's in your ass now. Sucks to be you.
Yeah.
So, I think that pretty much covers the way you feel about this game, right? Anybody else have anything they want to add to destroy this game a little bit more?
I would like to add, just for the people who know me outside of the podcast, you got an interesting look into my character and my personality and the way things work. When I stumble over my words and can't keep up with what I'm trying to think of, and you just heard me do it there, I stumbled a little bit on my words. But in the second I go into rant mode, I can talk 900 mile an hour and not miss a fucking syllable. So, if you wonder why I like to have my little Facebook arguments and discussions, that's probably it, because I get single-minded and everything else disappears and I get to have a lot of fun. So that rant mode was a nice little insight to my personality.
Don't let him get to you. He's a troll.
Don't feed the troll. Don't feed the troll.
Feed the troll.
Feed him, please.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're looking forward to for the week here, and we'll start off with Lawrence. What you got ahead of you coming up this next week, sir?
This next week, I'm headed down to Florida for a little vacation, some sun. I'm kind of excited, get to see some family, and then unfortunately,
He gets to watch his Jaguars lose.
No, we're not even gonna talk about that. I'm excited for that. I'm not gonna let you bring me down because I'm excited for that. The thing that will bring me down is that I will have to play EVE Online at some point this week.
Yup.
We'll see.
That's exactly how I feel.
What about you, Amir?
I'm going canoeing this weekend. It's going to be awesome. Basically, it's me and my fraternity brothers. We go every year. We drink. We have fun. We camp. It's good. So getting away from civilization and the hellhole that I work in will be a nice change of pace. And then, yeah, I'll come back and try not to kill myself as I play EVE Online.
Is this a camping trip on a mountain by chance?
No mountains. No mountains. On a river.
You're not going Brokeback? Brokeback had a river,
Oh,
too.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
Y'all are so classy.
I'll never forget you, Jack. I'll never forget you.
It should be a good trip for the canoeing. And then, yeah, back to reality after a very short weekend, because this is always very short. But I only have to survive one more day of work for this week, so I can at least say that. And then, yeah, Eve. I suppose I'll download and install that tonight. I really hate all of you so-called fans who suggest this.
Oh, no.
Fuck all y'all. All right, Doug.
I'm looking forward to playing League of Legends and trying to get my little kitten that I caught socialized. We're going to move her into the house here probably tomorrow and start trying to work on socializing her even more. So that's kind of my crazy adventure in my life right now. Other than that, I'm just working and I'm going to play Eve and I'm going to try to enjoy the fact that I'm flying around in space in a ship and not look at all the rest of the shitty parts that everybody tells me about the game. So yeah, that's kind of pretty much where I'm at.
I love the attitude that we all have about Eve. It's all like, I suppose.
I'm going to pretend I'm either Captain Mal or Han Solo, and that's like the saving grace for this game, I think, is that I'm going to be flying around the galaxy doing my own fucking thing and like reciting Firefly quotes the entire time I'm doing so.
Hopefully, I can be like, get me my reputation to be enough of an asshole to have more people destroy me, so I don't have to play the game very long. I wonder, can I get into a fight to have someone kill me and put me out of my misery?
Well, with as terrible as you are at PvP, I'm sure like Larry and I can probably take care of that for you.
Yo, bazinga.
You know what? If I was terrible in a PvP game where I had to play in a ship and read some spreadsheets, yeah, go for it. I'll be terrible at this one. I'll happily be terrible at it even. All right, so I think that about closes it out for us. Lawrence, tell people where they can find us.
You can find us right here on YouTube at the UnknownEmote, or you can check us out on Facebook at Facebook/UnknownEmote, or on Twitter. I was gonna say you can find me at Madcast_Prince. You can find Doug at the Jawa, or you can find myself at Loboid.
Are you sure Amir isn't Madcast_/the Prince or whatever the hell?
Why are you trying to confuse people, Doug? I'm gonna drop kick you. Yeah, he had it right. So with that, folks, we will see you next week for episode 7. This is the Unknown Emote. We out.
Later.
Bye-bye.